Shalom, shalom, Mishpachah. This is Yerd Yao checking in. Let's go. All right, you guys, we are back with another episode of High Strangeness. And I guess I have to continue to do this story because it continues to be a story. I'm going to do an update on some of the other things that are going on in the news because there are plenty of things. Have you guys recognized that Texas is the battleground for the start of this, I guess you would call it race war preparation, or I guess you could call it propaganda event to radicalize the two main different groups of America, Caucasian Americans, which we know to be descendants of Magog, and then Hebrew Americans or Black Americans, which we know to be the descendants of Jacob, of Israel. And so this end of the world scenario is really taking place right now in America. We know about Ezekiel 39, Ezekiel 38, telling us about there being a final war at the end of the world between the forces of Gog and Magog and the forces of Israel, or the people of Israel. And we're really seeing the battle lines being drawn here in Texas. And I don't think that it is a coincidence that it's in Texas. I think that Texas is known for, I think that they're doing a couple different things here. I think Texas is known for the go for your guns mentality. Do you see what I'm saying? I think that they have always been a shoot first and ask questions later style of state. And so I think that they're making their push here because of the mentality of Texans. And since that mentality is a kind of trigger happy mentality, farm fresh trigger happy mentality, plus there's a large black population in Texas, I think that for their purposes it makes it a ideal battleground to start with. You know, Texas has always been ready to secede from the Union anyway. They've been, toying and teasing with it for the last few years now. And so it doesn't, surprise me that these events, what we know to be staged events, we know these to be staged events, you guys. We're not saying that nobody is getting hurt or killed here, but the events that have taken place in Texas in the last week have been many. There was a whole school shooting, and then there was a couple of other things that went on as well. And they're just right there in Texas, right? We also know that there's a shooting in Florida State. This is another trigger-happy state. So there's a lot of things going on right now, and I will have to do another update outside of this video. But we will see here in this video the strangeness that is going to emerge from the things that the Anthony family is saying too. You guys have to recognize all of these events are being played against your emotions in this, in the event. How you feel about the event is being used against you. And you can tell this because of the media presence that is in, or you could say the media engagement in this particular event, that is all well crafted. It's all put together to inflame either society. Do you see what I'm saying? The Carmelo Anthony family or the Austin Metcalf family, representing two sides of the racial demographic of America, and then using key phrase and words that will inflame either side, if you understand what I mean. This is the purpose. This is why we know that everything is put on. And if you've watched the second video, then you'll understand really what I'm talking about here as far as how these things are put together. We know that we saw the mother of Austin Metcalf attempting to summon tears that weren't there, right? We know we saw the father of Austin Metcalf. We know we saw him summon one tear, but have so much information about the case and be so ready to speak about it that he can't do nothing but be formulating a narrative. That's his purpose, being out in the media and giving so many interviews, is that he's trying to, without saying it, form a narrative about what white people will feel in the situation. So your son passes away on Thursday, and then by Friday you've given 4 interviews. It's just unimaginable for a grieving parent. So we can see that on the Gentile side, the white side, that there is some very high strangeness, with the emotions of the family. And, we put forth the concept that the event was staged, and it was staged in such a way that it would provoke, racial hostilities in Texas and all over the world. We also put forth that his twin brother, who, and I can't tell which one was throwing up the devil hand signs, but one of the twins is throwing up the devil hand sign. And the thing about it is, we put forth the concept that Carmelo Anthony couldn't have got off a clean stab straight through the heart in the situation that he was in, but his brother could have. The way that these satanic sacrifices work. We know that Jennifer Hudson's mother and brother were killed. We know just recently Big Boogie from Memphis, his sister. We know Kanye West's mother, and then just another a plethora of celebrities that Andre 3000's father. Just if you look at any of the histories of the big celebrities, you'll see that they've had close family members or friends pass away in mysterious circumstances, and then we've seen them catapult after that into fame and stardom. And so this is what we are seeing now right in front of us. The theory that we put forth is that Carmelo Anthony couldn't have gotten off a stabbing without being blocked by this blocker. It wasn't a fight, it wasn't a struggle, it was supposed to be a single stabbing and then an escape. And so we put forth the concept that it couldn't have been Carmelo, that it must have been Hunter. Even down to the name Hunter Metcalf is that literally means hunting the calf meat, the meat of the calf, hunting the meat of the calf. And we know the calf is an old ancient sacrifice. Do you see what I'm saying? That the only person that could have gotten a uncontested blow to the heart of Austin was his brother that was sitting right next to him. According to his own testimony, he was right next to him. And so since this is an occultic ritual style event, the way that it must have gone down is that Carmelo Anthony, being in on it, must have, designed with the designers of this, with the designers of this propaganda, must have been ordered to go into this area where he knows that he wasn't supposed to be, right? And once he goes there, the setup is that Austin Metcalf, who is aggressive, who we assume to, also have some racist stand, and who we know is going to challenge a person being in that area. I'm sure his twin and everybody on the football team knows about Austin. You know, you don't get a reputation, you know, for nothing. And so they recognized what he would do in the situation, and him challenging, you know, the other kid in that area then gives his focus on that kid and not on his brother, who is going to be wielding, you know, the hunting instrument to take his brother out. And the crowd of people that are there also being members of this occultic group, the witnesses, you know, that are going to help fabricate the narrative, will then close in on them, preventing anyone from seeing what's going on from when the stabbing takes place, and then the aftermath of the stabbing. And then the forthrightness of Anthony, Carmelo Anthony, to say, I did it, I'm the one that did it, it was me, I did it, tells us that there must be something else going on there. Maybe he didn't do it. Maybe because he's so forthright with it, he has the onus to do it because this is a part of the play. It's that they need for him to be confident in this murder. And so they need for everyone that is on his side to also be as confident as he. Oh, sure he did it. He was being bullied. He was, you know, people were coming at him, telling him he couldn't sit where he wanted to sit. And that's a, you know, that's a red flag already, right? It's a racial red flag already. So it's designed. It's completely designed. And the behavior of the people involved also tells us that it's designed. And now there's something else that we brought up last time. Look at these two. They're both dressed in black. And now the husband over here, looking halfway goofy, is not dressed in black, but these two are. You know, the mother of Carmelo Anthony is dressed in, for sure, all black. And we know that the Metcalf family in their interviews were dressed in all black. You had the other son, Hunter, dressed in black. You had the dad on three separate occasions dressed in all black. You have, you know, even the pictures of the sons on the counter. The two sons, the twins, are both dressed in black, right? So we recognize these as small signs of a unity to something that is beyond the press. This is what I mean, that they most likely knew each other and set this whole thing up for it to be a ritual spell cast on the United States to cause the Civil War. And this may be it. You may be looking at the event that starts the Civil War right here. We know that there were protests planned on both sides. Do you see what I'm saying? Protests planned on both sides. And now we're going to get into this video. And I don't want to watch the whole video, but we're going to do parts of it. And I want to analyze this, you know. I want to analyze the behavior and the unspoken languages that are coming forth from this family. Just in the same way that I did the Metcalf family. We don't want to be one-sided on this issue because we recognize that that's what this is designed to do. We know that both parties are responsible for this death because it is part of the ritual that they are both sides involved in. And the people that are being played are us, the public. So let's go in and hear what Carmelo Anthony's mother has to say here.
A lot of strength, y'all, to come and do this today. And I want you guys to respect her as she read this and giving her the respect that she deserves, y'all.
Good afternoon. My name is Kayla Hayes. I am the mother of Carmelo Anthony. 3 years ago, my family moved to North Texas searching for a better life. Like so many other families, we wanted to give our children the future we did not have. My husband worked hard every single day to provide for us, to make sure
This is an interesting concept already, you guys. She mentions her husband working hard and that they were new to the community, 3 years new to the community. This is not a place that they were automatically from. They were new there. And then she mentions her husband working hard to get them to move there. I just don't understand why he isn't telling us these things. Why is it the spokesperson that is telling us and not him himself, or the wife that's speaking and not the husband? Do you see what I'm saying? This is a united family, and they are married. And I know that the Metcalf family were separated, so you can see the two different interviews, one with the father and then one with the mother, and one with the father and the son, and then one with the mother and the son. You have a whole family right here, father and mother together. Why isn't the father speaking on behalf of his family? Why is it the mother that is speaking on behalf? And I can, tell you that they've got their spokesperson in the representative that introduced the woman. They didn't want him as the spokesperson for some reason, for whatever reason, but clearly they didn't want him to be the spokesperson. They wanted the representative that's there, and then the woman to be the spokesperson. That clearly is also a psychological ploy, because they're speaking directly to black women in this situation. Black women who would naturally be trying to take up for their children, and if they were in a similar situation. We know that black women are targeted for manipulation more than any other group, and have fallen victim to the manipulation in the media in very, very discernible ways. Do you see what I'm saying? So with her being the out front spokesperson for the family, besides the man that's on the outside of the family, that is the representative, says a lot about the dynamic that they are trying to push here. Not that they are trying to establish some sort of real authority and say, hey, this is my son, da 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 da, this is who I'm standing up for, and this is what we are standing on. They bring the woman out in order to play on the emotions of other black women. Why? Because, of course, in the black community right now, listen, you guys, in the black community right now, the women are the leaders, you guys. The women are the leaders of the black community. They're the ones that have the better jobs, with the better paying jobs, and this is all statistically proven. They're the ones usually with the house and the man moves in, and these are just things that even from my generation I've seen happen. Even me myself, I've done these things. I've moved into my girl's house before. Do you see what I'm saying? They're the ones with the access to benefits and the ability to establish themselves with those benefits. They're the ones that are more likely to be college educated and receive a managerial position based on their college education. These are the things that we, have in America, in the black community, as the women being in control of the black community right now. And I believe that she is up there to speak directly to them and to lead them in this particular direction as the defense for right now who is accused of being a murderer. The narrative is that he's the murderer. So I believe that they are being pushed towards defense, and that's why she's there. Let's keep looking.
We're the best to make sure we're in the best financial position possible. As a stay-at-home mom, I made it my life's mission to ensure our children are loved, nurtured, and supported every step of the way. In wake of this tragic incident, our family has been under attack. Whatever you think what happened between Carmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about.
You heard what she said about the confrontation between her son and the Metcalf boys. Did you hear that? That the confrontation was between the three of them. So she's putting it out that this is the route that they are taking for the defense. But that Carmelo Anthony was in fear of strong retaliation from two linebacker football players. That's what the narrative that they are subtly hinting to by her pointing and pulling attention towards that it was not a confrontation between one and another, it's a confrontation between two and another. So you have to look at it for what they are pointing out. But with this instance, with her mentioning that it's the three of them involved, it does also point to our conclusion, because they know and they recognize the situation for what it actually is, for it being a sacrifice. And so they are literally pointing in that direction with the information that she's giving. Do you see what I'm saying? It's subtle, but that's what the direction that they are actually pointing you to, saying that there's three people involved and not two. Does that make sense to you guys? That's true, but not in the way that she's insinuating. Let's keep watching.
The lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has been overwhelming. The lies and their amplification put my family in danger, as well as everyone in our community, everyone involved in the investigation, from the police, the attorneys, and the court staff. Our address and my husband's previous employer's address has been put on all social media platforms. My husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid what may happen to our family. His mental health is deteriorating day by day. We have endured death threats.
Did you hear what she said? She said my mental health, and then she said his mental health. So it was her speaking on his behalf, saying that his mental health is deteriorating daily. So is she talking about her husband? Why would she be on TV talking about her husband's mental state? And then also watch his reactions to the words that he's saying. He's kind of like in the background, really overplaying a hand that he wasn't dealt. Do you see what I'm saying? He's acting in the background, but he's really doing a bad job at acting like the strong, supportive husband to his wife as the speaker for the family. Do you see the dynamic that they're putting forth? She basically is saying that he's going crazy, saying that his mental health is deteriorating every day. Why would she need to say that? Why, if that is the case, why wouldn't he say it himself? Why wouldn't he be the spokesperson of the family, say, hey, we're breaking down because of this? Why would you need to put his mental capacity on camera without putting him on camera? So there's something very strange about that.
My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what may happen to her. And let me be clear, the claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false. We have not received a single dime from the Give, Send, Go fundraiser. And the co-founder has stated that clearly.
So there was a rumor that came out that they had bought a house with the donation money, and that they were, buying security with the donation money that they had just been sent. And so here she is coming out and saying that they didn't buy the house that had been reported on, that they haven't even spent any of the money yet. It also came out that they only just recently were able to access the money, even that they over the course of these 2-3 weeks that this has been going on, raised the money and then didn't have access to it until just recently. So her saying that we just now got access to the money and haven't bought a house is null and void, because they still do have the money and still are gaining access to the money. So right now, with them, being in the media and portraying this event all through the media, that has garnished this family $500,000 off the bat, off the rip, just in donations, you guys. So them saying that they haven't purchased anything with the money yet is not the point. The point is that they are profiting off of this murder in the same way that the Metcalf family is got a GoFundMe or whatever it is and receiving donations and profiting off of the murder. Both things are happening to both groups. So we can't say that, oh, well, this black family is taking the money, and then also say, okay, well, this white family is taking the money too. Do you see what I'm saying? If both sides have GoFundMes, it doesn't matter that one side is the victim and one side is the aggressor. They're both profiting off of the tragedy. And this is no way around it. They are both profiting off of the tragedy. They are both doing that, which should be recognized for what it absolutely is that they are benefiting from the murder. They're benefiting. Both families are benefiting off just the donations alone. Benefiting. Do you see what I'm saying? And if this murder is used to propel the racial differences and to perpetuate racial animosity, then it would behoove them to, in their actions, portray in a subtle way, their side, their component of the propaganda, which is what's being done, you guys. People don't understand that when a trial comes up, anything that's said from either party or any representative of the party can be used against you in a court of law. So anybody that retains a lawyer automatically goes out and says to their clients, don't say anything to the press, because we don't want anything that you slip up and say or anything to be used against you later. Especially the aggressor, you could say, the one who's charged, the aggressor that is in the media, which is Carmelo Anthony, the person who is charged. You don't want to give any information that could potentially get your son locked up. So why would her lawyers, his lawyers, their lawyers, why would they allow her to do a press conference? It's nonsensical, unless you already know how the court's gonna go, how the case is gonna go. Unless unless the propaganda is more important than the defense, right? The only way that as a family you do a press conference is if the propaganda is more important than the defense. What you've got to say about the situation is more important than what happens to your son in the case, because you already have a good feeling of what's going to happen because you're involved in this ritual with whoever is orchestrating this ritual. So let's continue to look, you guys.
In the reality, we were just notified yesterday that we could begin to withdraw funds. And it still takes several days to receive those funds once a request is made. I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated against before a fair trial. Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to. He's been raised in a 2-parent home with structure, stability, love, and we put God first in everything that we do.
again, for the same reason why we said that you can't use the cloak of God for the Metcalf family, we say the same thing for the Anthony family. It's here, what God are you talking about? Do you see what I'm saying? That is always used as a ploy to say, oh, well, this is a family that believes in the Bible. This is a family that's a Christian family, and therefore they have moral authority in the situation because they are, God, the quote-unquote God-fearing. But again, in these cults, they use the terminology to hide the true God that they are worshiping, which is the God of this world, not the Elohim of heaven. Do you understand what I mean, you guys? Let's take a quick show break. I will be back on here in one brief moment, you guys. All right, you guys, we are back. If you missed it before the show break, the husband dried some of his wife's tears there. Again, this points to a very strange dynamic between husband and wife. You have the husband playing the supporting role like the wife, and you have the wife playing the lead role like the husband. This is psychology 101 for the black community, because that is the dynamic that they want to portray for the black community, period. They want the black woman to be in control of the family because that puts the leader of the family in an inferior position. It emasculates the male automatically, so that, okay, now he doesn't want to speak up or can't speak up, and now he has to have his wife do it for him. This is a part of the psychology that's built in right here. You have to understand that this is the dynamic that the powers that be have always designed for our society to be, our families to be. And so them pushing that, even in the press conference form, is telling. And I will say that we, kind of identified the lack of tears in Austin Metcalf's mother as a telltale sign for lack of emotion. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so we can't say that here because clearly she's got tears and she's, putting forth a lot of emotion. But the problem with this is that it wasn't her son that was killed, you guys. So her emotions are over the top. You see what I'm saying? It's unnecessary for you to be crying on stage here because you're feeling threatened by the repercussions of what your son did, quote unquote, what your son did. As far as if we're taking the mainstream scenario at face value, at Carmelo Anthony being the stabber, which we know is not true. So the emotions that she has, that the Anthony wife has, should be on the Metcalf mother, and the emotions that the Metcalf mother, the lack of emotion, should be on this woman. So why is it backwards? Why is she crying and then Austin's mother is fake crying. Do you see what I'm saying? It's suspicious for her to have too much emotions here. For her to be crying, it's suspicious. And I know you people will say, oh, well, that's convenient because, hey, she is crying. And you said in the last video that tears mean real emotion. Yeah, that's for sure the case. But again, people do know how to, in a situation, be able to fabricate an emotion. And we can also tell that an emotion is fabricated when it's not warranted. Your son is still alive, so the tears aren't for the loss of your son. The tears are for the consequence of what your son did. She has an understanding specifically that her son, quote unquote, committed a murder, right? If you have that understanding, then you can't cry tears for the son that you still have. Does that make sense, you guys? That means it's a part of the ploy. And that's another reason why she was chosen and not him, because she can play on the emotions of the black women that are watching her by having these tears. And then also on the emotions of the men too, because she has these tears. Let's keep watching.
We believe in the Constitution. We believe in the laws of this state. But those laws must apply to all of us, not just some of us. To be clear, we will not speak publicly about specific details of what happened under the tent on that rainy and awful day. There's an active investigation.
On that rainy and awful day is definitely a crafted phrase, and it's, a phrase that I don't understand why they're using. What does the rain have to do with anything? Do you understand what I'm saying? Why is the rain a factor in the press conference? I guess we're going to watch some of the representatives speak, and he brought up the rain as being a factor and even tried to blame the school system for the murder for not canceling the track meet due to the rain. What kind of school system doesn't cancel the track meet? They're just looking for someone to get stabbed if all the kids are standing around because it's raining. This is a ridiculous conclusion to draw, from what we know about, this case. It's just a ridiculous notion there. So let's continue to listen to what she's got to say here.
That everyone involved wants to be full and fair. We believe in the legal process, and that is where the truth will come out. To the family who experienced the loss, my heart truly goes out to you. To those who have supported my family.
The family that experienced the loss, my heart goes out to you. Same thing that the father said about them. They're saying the same things about each other. Hey, my heart goes out to you, and then also my heart goes out to you. These are the crafted psychological cues that can tell you that they were both crafted together. Make sure that you mention that my heart goes out to that other family. It's kind of out of place in the Metcalf family because, again, it doesn't really make sense for you to say, oh, okay, well, you guys have lost a son too because your son killed my son, because they haven't lost him yet. Do you see what I'm saying? They might, but there's a possibility that they might not. Again, if you're following the narrative, if you're following the scenario as it's given to you, it doesn't really make sense for you to say my heart goes out to that family. They still have their son. It makes sense for the Anthony family to say it, oh, we understand the situation, my heart goes out. But it doesn't make sense for the Metcalf family to say it. Do you see what I'm saying? And the things that they were saying were really, really, really off-putting. Do you see what I mean? And now, since this woman is saying my heart goes out to this family, you can see that they're crafted by the same groups that have the same things to say. So they're really saying the same things about one another, which goes to show that they are a single unit that are playing both sides of the racial and political fence. You guys have to understand that. Let's keep going.
Thank you from the bottom of our hearts, we ask for your continued support, patience, and prayers as we navigate this difficult process. Thank you.
Y'all, I'm gonna show something up.
So she also said, we thank you for your continued support. And this is the same thing that the Metcalf family said. We thank you for your continued support. We still need support. So they're going to be collecting donations this entire time. And with every news, every press conference, every opportunity to speak to the nation, like the mother was saying, they're going to be soliciting for donations in those opportunities. You can't miss an opportunity to solicit for a donation. We appreciate your continued support. So I mean, you have to say that if you are using the donations as a means to survive. It doesn't matter that he has taken a leave of absence from his work. He just got $500,000. Do you see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter that that the church has shown such an outpouring of support, because now you've got all of this money based on your son, being dead. How much money does it take? How much, does it take for you to be willing to participate in something like this? Do you see what I'm saying? What you're looking at is the participants of this play on the Hebrew side, on the black side. You're seeing participant number 1 here. You're seeing participant number 2 here. You're seeing participant number 3 right here. These are the other side of the story. They are just as much involved. And you see how he was reacting to some of the things that his wife was saying, just, putting his head down like, just, oh, it's a shame. No, this is clearly him, overacting his short part. Do you understand what I'm saying? Hasn't said a word yet, right? And that's mysterious, because as a united family, clearly the man's role would be emphasized, but only if that was part of the psychological ploy for it to be the woman to speak on behalf of the family. Would that be the case of this happening? Do you guys understand that? It has to be part of the play that she is speaking up on behalf of her son and not him. And then you have an outside person, which is taking the role of leader here, which is also off-putting in this situation. And he automatically has, a wild attitude on the situation. Apparently at this press conference, Austin Metcalf's father was there, and he says at the beginning of this that he should have never showed up, and he was put out, right? But he was literally put out of this press conference, which is going to infuriate the white community, because what business do they have? He has the right to be there if he wants to be there. Do you see what I'm saying? And then another thing that came out in the media is that after he was kicked out, his house was swatted. And this is not a term that I'm really familiar with, swatting. But what they're saying is that someone called the police to their house, to the Metcalf house, from some other number, and it was not a real emergency, that they were pranking them or, causing them to have some issues, and it's based off of them or him showing up to the press conference. The assumption in the media is that he came to the press conference to do harm to somebody. But again, this is all part of the psychological propaganda that they're putting forth for you. You have to understand, you guys, that we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities, against powers, against spiritual wickedness in heavenly places, in high places, you guys. And these are those high places, these government positions, these spokespeople, these, the news organizations that are publicizing all of these different things and promoting it on both sides. This is the spiritual wickedness that we wrestle with, you guys. Because if we fall to either side of this controversy, we automatically are involved in the spiritual wickedness, because it's not as it appears. This murder is not what it seems. From what it seems, Carmelo Anthony couldn't have gotten into position to kill this boy. From what it seems, that the family of the killed boy is showing some very weird emotions. The mother is showing lack of emotion. The father is so informative to tell you every detail of the murder that he didn't witness. Do you see what I'm saying? In order to draw the scenario, the father for the Hebrew side, the black side, is absent. Even though he's physically present, he's not vocally present. Then you have this outside spokesperson. Who is he? Where does he come from? And why is he speaking for this family in the way that he is? And then you have the mother speaking on behalf of the family and not the father in the position, the mother being in the position of the father. All of these are telltale signs of programming, of script, of craftedness. Do you see what I'm saying? Because they all play a huge psychological role in the hearers, you guys. We understand that the sorcery that comes out of Babylon at the end of the world will be dedicated towards the blood of the saints. We all read in Revelation chapter 21 the pronouncement of what goes on in Babylon. In her was found the blood of prophets, the blood of saints, and the blood of all those who are in the world. And here we are in the last days in Babylon, and Yah Eloheinu, our Elohim, has prophesied, as he always does, correctly. We see witchcraft, we see sorcery, we see spells coming out of Babylon, but we look at it as media events. We don't see it for what it actually is. We don't know that these are characters that are involved in this performance that will benefit them tremendously. We don't know that the other side are also performers that are performing to their own benefit. We don't know that they are in league with one another in order to sow discord into the American population. But they absolutely are, and this is what we're seeing. We're seeing the scenes unfold right before our eyes. This is what we're looking at right now, you guys. Do not fall into either side. Both sides are displaying the same thing. They're both asking for donations. They both say, oh, we're worried about the other family. They both are doing press conferences kind of out of nowhere that don't need to be done. The only reason you do a press conference is to steer public sentiment. Right now you've got a demonstration for the Metcalf side, and you have a demonstration for the Anthony side going on, right now, or at least being organized right now in order to happen. And so this is all right here also, during the season of Passover, you guys, during the season of unleavened bread, during the season of Easter. Do you understand what I mean, you guys? Do you understand that in itself is also a factor? That around the feast days, you'll have a ramped up, you'll have ramped up events like this happening. I mean, it's what's always happened. They've always planned their big events around feast days, you guys, so that they can, perform their anti-sacrifice, around the Father's days. This is a telltale mark of Ashkenazi involvement as well, because we know that that's what they do. Even the October 6th attack in Jerusalem that started this huge war, it was done at the end of Tabernacles, you guys, on the last great day. If I'm not mistaken, double check. But it was done on the last great day, the last day of Tabernacles, the last day of the feast cycle, because they are doing the anti-sacrifice for their Elohim, which is the Elohim of this world, who's the adversary. That's what they're doing, and they're using our feast days, his feast days, the Father, Yah Elohim, using his feast days in an anti-sacrificial event to blaspheme the days and not to cherish them, you guys. Let's keep watching here. So I don't know what he's getting ready to say here. Let's jump back to the beginning of his press conference and just hear him, what he says about Austin Metcalf's father.
Quote anybody, is a disrespect to the dignity of his son. Next Generation Action Network from the beginning has respected the loss of life.
Do you see the husband reacting? That's all he does the entire time. He's like, it's like he doesn't have a voice, you guys. This is part of the play. And then even the words that this person is saying are inflammatory. How are you going to say that they're disrespecting the death of his son by showing up to a press conference? These are not things that'll piss the family off. Of course they will, but it'll piss the people off. Well, how are you going to say that to a grieving father? Again, this is quote unquote because the people are following the scenario. They will assume him to be grieving. He said that he wasn't. He said that he didn't feel anything yet, but they would assume him to be grieving. And so, the play is, how dare you say that to a person that your client's son killed? How dare you do anything to him, say anything to him? But it's crafted in this way to deliver the highest psychological damage to the other side as possible. Do you see how this works, you guys?
I want to start off this press conference to say something as a deep note that I can tell America.
Again, speaking directly to America like the mother is speaking to the nation, you guys. That's very telling, you guys.
We seen at the beginning of this press conference, the father being at this press conference. These are my words. Don't quote anybody. Is a disrespect to the dignity of his son. Next Generation Action Network from the beginning has respected the loss of life. No matter our opinion of it, we have kept our opinion close. We have not attacked. We have not shared the information that was shared with us about Austin Metcalf, because we respect the dignity of life and loss. And as a minister, I would not attack a grieving family.
And you hear that he also puts forth that he's a minister. And you guys, again, don't allow that to form your opinion of what he's saying and doing. He said that he would not attack a grieving father. That's literally what he's doing now by kicking him out of the press conference, by, calling him, going to the press conference a disrespect to his son's death. That's an attack. I mean, it's a heck of an attack. So the words that he's saying, you can't listen to him because he's contradicting himself when he's saying them. This is the performance that I'm talking about that will garnish a lot of psychological damage in the white population, you guys. That who wants to hear that you're kicking somebody out, regardless of if you're a minister, regardless of if it's inappropriate for him to be there or not. It's a free country. He has the right to be there. Do you understand what I'm saying? These are things that the white side would be inflamed about. You understand what I'm saying? And if it was the other way around, it would be, who are you to kick us out of? It's almost the same scenario, but reversed. Hey, Austin was confronting someone about being in a place that they shouldn't have been and ended up getting killed. Now, the father, Austin's father, is in a place where, quote unquote, he's not supposed to be, and they're kicking him out. It's the same component of the opposite end, but just with the roles reversed. Does that make sense? This is the way that they play, allow us to play mind games, or play mind games with us, by making us into hypocrites, right? If we are standing up for Carmelo Anthony being able to go where he wants and sit where he wants, how then can we support this father being kicked out of a place that he can't, he's not supposed to be? It causes you to contain hypocritical concepts. Causes you to contain hypocritical concepts if you fall into either side. If you understand it for what it is, that they're partners in all of this, if you understand it to be the psych op or psy-op that we know that it is, then you won't be fooled by this nonsense and this madness. I don't think we need to watch any more of this video. I think it's being, shopped around enough for people to have seen it and have formulated opinions on it. So we're not going to go too deep into it, but just recognize the things that need to be recognized in it already. That this is where the psychological programming comes from. And these three individuals are the actors on the other side. And we saw the other day the actors on the white side. These are the actors on the black side, you guys. Stay prayed up. Stay vigilant out there. If you're a believer, know to sit this one out. Know not to converse about this with your neighbors so that you don't get assumed to be in either side. Do you understand what I'm saying, you guys? All right, this is what I have for this report. It's been Hebrew News.